Anytime, Paul, any night you want to go with me looking for Larry King, let me know.
Let's look for somebody else.
Well, see, we haven't found Larry King yet.
Okay.
Let's at least accomplish one task, and then we'll move on.
All right, that sounds like fun.
All right, let's turn on this thing. You ready for this? We have nothing in here tonight because we kept putting all kind of odd fluids in there, and we were screwing up the effect. So tonight it's just a normal water with a little bit of suds. We're trying to clean out the pipes. There it is.
Excuse me a second.
Very nice show. Susan Rattan is here. George Miller. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes, Paul.
1 second.
Yeah.
Is it me or did I see something crazy in the prancing fluids?
In the prancing fluids?
Right in the middle of the actual fluids themselves.
You thought you saw something?
Something nutty. Do you think you could turn them on again?
I'll turn them on again. I don't know. I was busy with my paperwork here. All right, I'll switch it on. Let's see. Where exactly did you see it, Paul?
Well, it was just kind of right in the middle of the thing.
Oh my God, he's right.
I can't be sure of this, but I thought I saw the ghostly image of Tom Snyder.
Yeah, I think.
Weird. That was very...
See, this is in lieu of actual comedy. Now, when we edit the show tonight, we'll actually drop in something funny in that position, and you at home will think we're having a good time. You know, speaking of people on the radio, Tom Snyder just started his own radio show.
Is he on the radio now?
Yeah, I heard part of the show last night. Very entertaining. It's nice to have Tom back on the airwaves.
Oh, good.
All right. Now what are we doing? I had something wonderful happen to me today. Let's turn these on, see if these are working. Always want to make sure we check the equipment, make sure everything is functioning properly.
David, I'm
yes.
sorry. I thought I saw something funny in the fountain.
In the fountains?
Yeah, I'm sure that I saw something, a spooky image appearing.
I think you just need some time off, Paul.
What?
Don't worry about it. No, everything's.
Guess you're right.
Everything's
Guess you're
fine.
right, Dave. Yeah.
Everything's going to be just fine.
Yeah.
All right. Paul is doing this because he and I had this is actually the only fight Paul and I have ever had since we've been doing the show, and it turned out to be pretty ugly.
I don't even
And
want
he's just trying to make up to me tonight for it. But I think you're wrong, and I still stand by what I said earlier. Cosby is the funniest damn show on TV. So just...
I don't even want to get into what started the feud at all, you know, whatever you say.
Let's see if this is that working at all? We have to move along. We have a wonderful show. Fred Willard is here tonight, and also Jake Johansson and the
Dave,
woman with her herbs from up in
Let
Connecticut.
me say, I'm so relieved that
What's that, Paul?
Well, I'm relieved that we didn't see, you know, the you-know-what in the
Oh, yeah. Paul is under the opinion that the last couple of nights he's seen some sort of apparition here in the fountain. Well, but you just need a little rest.
Well, I know.
Your eyes were playing tricks on you.
I was a little overtired.
No, believe me, there's no vision there to... Oh, my God, what was that?
Dave.
What is it, Biff?
The coffee machine.
What are you trying to tell us, Biff?
Coffee machine.
Some kind of problem. Hal, could we get a shot of the coffee machine backstage? Biff is beside himself. What is going on back there?
Take a look.
Okay, here it is, the coffee machine. See, I think that's just some kind of swamp gas.
Yeah, you know, it could be the Aurora Borealis.
That's right.
The Northern Lights.
Yeah.
Used to get that up in Canada.
It's nothing. Shoot, relax. Forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because this place was built on an old Indian burial ground, I'm very excited, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to go into this, but I have brand new contact lenses in my head, and it's like somebody came into my house and washed my windows. It's unbelievable. And a guy did this. He came right up to my office and did it, and it took like 8 minutes. He comes up, he shines a little thing in each eye, picks out a set, pops them right in, and they're great.
So it feels clear?
Oh, it's wonderful. They're a little heavier than the old ones, so I'm having trouble keeping my head up. But is this thing working? Let's see if that's going to happen. No, it's not working. Well, part of it's working. Geez, it sounded like it was working, didn't it? I could have sworn that was working. Let's try it again. Let's see. Oh, no, now it's completely dead. Whereas before it was working 50%, now it's not working at all.
Hey, the waters are dead, and
yeah,
it's too bad, you know, because they look so great and everything.
In rehearsal. Didn't they look good in rehearsal?
They were fabulous,
yeah.
and I finally got over my phobia against them too.
I know you had some problems with the fountain.
Well, I was afraid of them for a while, but I'm glad to see that we're finally free of the you-know-what.
Yeah, that's right. Paul thought he imagined that he saw something in the fountains, and it was nothing, Paul. It was, I don't know, an apparition or, I don't know, something that... What the hell was that? Oh, my God, what is
something
that?
From the hallway.
Something in the hallway.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What the hell was that? Jeez.
Well, I think it was lights from an airplane reflecting off a cloud formation.
Yeah, well, you know, we're near several major metropolitan airports.
Yeah, could be anything. No, they're not working.
That's all right. We'll get a guy in here with a hose later to just turn it on you. Am I the only one who smells toast?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Tom Snyder, and welcome once again to the Tomorrow Show here on NBC. Tonight, we're going to take a look at the future of late-night television. I mean, is it going straight to hell, or is it going right down the tubes? And here with me is a fellow you all know, Mr. David Letterman. Dave, it's good. By the way, is it David or is it Dave? What do you like?
Dave is fine.
Right, yeah. Sir. Dave it is. Now, tell me, Dave, what the heck is going on TV after midnight? I mean, is there any hope at all here?
Well, gee, I'm really not sure.
In other words, Dave, it's pretty grim, a pretty sad story. There's not much going on here, right?
Well, I don't know. Of course, you have Johnny, and then there's Ted Koppel.
Okay, all right, okay. There's Johnny, there's Ted Koppel. Okay, fair enough, Dave. I'll give you Mr. Koppel, but that's about it. The folks at home, they might as well go to bed now.
Well, again, Tom, I'm not sure.
No, they might as well turn off the set, Dave. They might as well hit the hay, skip the whole thing, get some sleep. Forget it.
Well, you know, Tom, interestingly enough, I have a little show that I do every night at about 12:30 here on NBC.
Like I say, you know, douse the lights, fluff up the pillow, pull out the plug, head for dreamland, flip the switch, pull back the...
That's right, Paul. He was impolite. And by the way, that's as impolite as you can get, I think.
I guess so, yeah. I enjoyed it. No, it's just part of that chatty beginning of the show that you do so well, that loose repartee that you have.
I don't care. We got a great show tonight. We've been trying to get Tom Snyder on this program for the last 5.5 years, and he's here tonight. And one of the broadcasting giants, and he's with us. Boy, it's a great day here in New York City. If you like drizzly, rain, chilly weather, it's beautiful here in New York City tonight. Do you like it when it's like this, Paul?
It's rough. I can't say I do.
Boy, I do. I think one of these a month would be just fine. It's very exciting. It makes the city seem doubly romantic, don't you think? Our first guest tonight entertained the late-night television viewing audience as host of NBC's Tomorrow program. This show, terribly successful, was on the air for, I think, 8 years, from 1973 until 1981. And last month, he began a brand new project. It's a nightly ABC radio network talk show. Folks, please welcome the one, the only, Tom Snyder. Tom, good to see you. Pleasure to have you here. No. Thank you. You want to go home. I want to go home.
Thank you. Thank you very much, man.
You walked out and you gave the talk show salute.
Basically, I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm so nervous, it's scary. I mean,
now, why are you nervous?
Because, Dave, I haven't been in the... And by the way, I like what you've done to the room. It looks really, really good.
Thank you very much.
Really. You really fixed it up nicely. It's been since 1981 that I've been in this room and in this building, and I have great reverence for this building and for this audience and for this time period, because in 15 years, only 2 of us have done this.
All right, but you were the one, Tom, who made it viable. If it weren't for you...
Stop it now.
Well, no, that's true. I mean, you came on and proved that there was an audience out there eager for network television.
A small audience in the beginning, but eager to be sure.
That's right. And now you're on, I guess it is ABC Radio.
Well, it's a conglomeration network, and I don't want to go into it because it's very complicated, but if they hate me here, you can always turn the radio on right now. I'm over there right
now. Will you be on right now talking about what happened here tonight?
Probably.
Yeah.
In fact, people will be calling in from all over the country telling me how I did, and I hope they say I've done good.
Yeah. But, you know, it's a greatly entertaining show. When I drive home, I have the choice now of listening to Larry King or you, and I go back and forth most nights. And I must... well, you do, because I mean...
What a guy, huh?
No. I didn't mean that the way it sounded.
I know you didn't, Dave.
But as we were talking earlier, I think that AM radio and network radio now is some of the most creative and informational, entertaining
now with Larry King, who's on another network, and Steve Allen is back on the radio, and Sally Jesse Raphael is coming on the radio network. A lot of people are coming on the radio network. And people say why, and I say because they asked us.
Sure. But didn't you start in radio? I'm guessing you did.
We all did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The mighty 1340, Mounds of Sound, Stacks of Wax, all designed with you in mind for your late afternoon pleasure. Absolutely.
Do you like what you see happening with the radio now? Especially, we're talking here in New York, of course, it's Howard Stern and almost every major
like
market.
Shock radio, where like there's one out in Los Angeles, and I won't mention his name because I don't put down other performers or talent.
Come on, put some down.
His name is Jay. His name is Jay Thomas, and I can't criticize the man, David, because I've not listened to him. He's on early in the morning, and I work late at night, and I watch you late at night. You're my cocktail hour television at what, 12:30. But on the back of all the buses now in Los Angeles, it says, "We apologize for Jay Thomas." I don't want to do programs that I have to apologize for. I don't want to do stuff that shocks people, much the same as great comedians don't want to tell off-color jokes to get laughs. They want to be more inventive and work harder.
Yeah. Don't you think I always have
no idea what I'm saying, but it sounded pretty good, didn't you?
But that's what broadcasting is. None of us have any idea what we're talking about. These people are just in here to get out of the rain. They don't care. Anyway, let's talk about the old Tomorrow Show. I think, along with many other Americans, I probably saw the first broadcast and most of the subsequent broadcasts that you did. And there were some moments that I wish I could have talked to you about immediately after the show was finished. The night you were going to have a guy, and forgive me if I've got this wrong.
That's okay.
An average guy. Oh, the average American viewer.
The average American. And you have to remember, this was back at a time when there were gasoline lines, energy crisis, financial crisis, and America was entering a dark period. And so we put and Watergate was starting too. So we had experts from the White House and from the administration, from the financial community, the economists. And so a guy writes from Evansville, Indiana, I believe it was. He says, you know, I sell television sets out here, and I listen to all these people who are great experts. And he said, I know they have great opinions, but I have opinions too on what America should do. Why not bring me on? So you know how it works with the staff. You say, hey, why not? We have nothing else going on tonight. That's right. So we gave the guy...
But it does sound like a great idea.
Yeah. On paper, average.
A lovely idea.
We bring the guy in from Evansville. He walks into Studio One in Burbank with the Tonight Show set over here somewhere and the band over here. He sits down with me, and the lights are on, and he freezes. And I say, well, Joe from Evansville, what do you think about the economy? You freeze, you know. Of course, you start to sweat right here, and you call a staff meeting after the show and say, I don't ever want to see that happen here again.
How long was the guy on for?
He was on about 35 seconds, Dave, and gone.
Have you, did that happen much? Did you find, even with guys who should...
Even with pros. I mean, one night we had a booking with Joseph E. Levine, the motion picture producer since departed, who worked with Sophia Loren and all the great stars of the 1960s. So he came on, and I said, Mr. Levine, how did you get into the motion picture business from your fish restaurant in Boston? And he said, and you have to remember, and I say this with respect, there was no Paul, there was no studio audience, there was no Bill Wendell. It's just an empty studio with Tom and Joe Levine with an hour to fill. Right. How did you get into the motion picture business? He said, well, he said, a guy showed me a script one day at a studio in Queens, and the rest is history. And he stopped. And I mean, there's dead silence in the studio, okay? I said, well, I got about 44 more minutes to do here, and if you could kind of give me some of that history, it would be very, very helpful to me.
Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't work, and they don't know, and what can you do? We'll do
you can die.
Yeah, we'll do it, but that's all part of it. That's what makes it fun.
Of course it is.
It's the ups and downs that every one of us have. We'll do a commercial. We'll be right back here. More with Tom Snyder. Snyder is here. You know, I can remember watching your show over the, was it 8 or 9 years?
8.5 years.
8.5
we
years.
say 9 in the press release.
Very close. I mean, to have a show on the air a year anymore is an accomplishment. Yeah.
Yep.
But I can remember nights.
No, what I'm doing to you, and I shouldn't do this.
Oh,
but,
you're Joe Levine.
No, if I were, I couldn't be here, could I?
No, I guess
he's in
not.
a very tough area code right now. One day I did a show. One day I did an interview a long time ago in Philly with Geraldine Chaplin, the daughter of Charlie Chaplin. Okay, thank you very much.
Members of the Chaplin family here tonight.
That's correct. And she at the time was appearing in a Chekhov play with, oh goodness, memory, don't fail me now, sir, the great British actor.
Larry Storch?
Well, I'll tell you, Dave, you got the first name right. It's Larry Olivier. Very good.
Lawrence Olivier.
That's 30
Okay.
points
All
and
right.
a chance to go to the bonus round, yeah. It's a joke. It's only a dumb...
Yeah.
Anyway, so now she was doing the show with Laurence Olivier. And at the time, she had spent her time going across Europe, living with a famous Spanish director and, you know, engaging in a relationship with him.
Right.
And she was the daughter of Charlie Chaplin. Now, you would think that this woman had stuff to talk about. Yeah, exactly. Every question was what I said to you. Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. Yep.
Yeah.
Nope.
So there's really nothing you can do. The lesson that
You
people-
know this.
The lesson that you learn pretty quickly, it makes no difference if what the person does. It always is more important what kind of person
Haven't
you have
you
there.
found, David, that the smaller people are better than the biggest possible names? Sometimes the biggest names come in here,
Right.
and you figure that they're going to be dynamite.
Right.
And they aren't, and then everybody feels let down.
Yeah, that's no guarantee. I'm always surprised at people who make a living in show business. When they get here, they seem to forget that this is part of show business. But I can remember,
And
Tom...
they keep looking over here for their lines like, now what do I
Yeah,
say? And
yeah.
there's nothing over there.
But I can remember nights watching you, and I hope this doesn't embarrass you, because at the time I found it to be exciting to watch. I can remember one night you had somebody on, you were cooking. And the whole time you're cooking, it's a fairly well-respected chef. I don't know, the name escapes me at this point. And the whole time you're making up
Larry
this...
Storch. No, I
yeah. The whole time you're making up this delicate sauce, you get a butt going. You know? And I thought, that's great. Tom's cooking with this guy, and he's flicking ashes from his lucky strike everywhere. And another night, out of nowhere...
Your other favorites, Dave.
Out of nowhere, and again, correct me if I'm misremembering this, I think you just belched on the air one night. Now, did that happen or not?
Of course it did.
It did happen.
Yes.
See,
People sneeze, people belch, people
Yeah.
make all kinds of bodily noises on the air. Luckily, the microphones point upward, you know, which is good for all of us.
But that was a part of
restless out there.
That
aren't
was
they?
part of the overall intimacy that show created the illusion of, or generated, or
It
whatever.
was a very quiet show.
But fun, a great deal of fun.
It was a great deal of fun, and Dave, I know this is going to come as a tremendous shock to you. It's over.
Well, I know it's over, but don't you like to talk about it a little bit?
No, because to me, it's not where we've been, it's where we're going.
Exactly.
I mean,
Let me tell one more story.
Okay.
I remember
I'll tell you, my favorite show, one of my favorites of all, was one night we put on 4 unknown comedians.
Now, see, that's what I was going to tell. Let me tell that one.
No, I want to tell it. No.
Yeah, it was 4 of us. It was myself, it was Billy Crystal, it was Merrill Marco, and it was somebody really unknown, because we can't remember.
Harry Shearer.
I don't think Harry was on that team.
Trust me on this, Dave. It'll work.
All right, so it wasn't Harry Shearer.
But it'll work. Go for it.
So in the middle of the discussion, Tom is sitting there, and of course it was the open chairs, and all of a sudden, I don't know if we can do this or not, Tom is there like this, and he looks at me, and without really, actually he didn't even look at me, he just went like that. Just gave me a shot with his shoe.
No, I didn't.
But I thought that was, this man is really controlling this ship any way he can.
I tried to be as generous with, you know what, you know, I came in here today, and I'm a little discombobulated, you know, in the presence of all this grandeur.
Grandeur.
No, now come on.
You got to get out more often, Tom.
You should see the places I work in, okay?
They got time to go to the Times Square Motor Hotel, apparently.
I should be so lucky. If there were a sidewalk in front of the radio studio here in New York, it would be a blessing. Very quickly, because I know you have to move on.
We got all the time you want.
No. But to come in here and we shot the cold opening where we made believe.
Right.
We made believe that you were a guest on the Tomorrow Show.
That's right.
It is a very generous thing for a man to give of the opening of his program to a guest. That's a very generous thing to do. Your audience expects to see the late night logo and the walk through 30 Rock or whatever and the dog and Paul Schaefer and you walk out. That's your set piece opening. And it's very generous to give a guest a chance to precede that. Yeah. Not many people do that. And I thank you for that.
Well, certainly.
And I felt a little bit badly about it because this is your store.
Yeah, but truthfully, Tom, that time of night, our viewers are at the refrigerator looking for...
Well, let's talk about why is it so difficult for you to accept a compliment? And I've seen this happen time and again. People come out here and they pay you a sincere compliment, which I intended that to be, and you make fun of it.
I'm sorry. No, I should try to be more gracious.
No, but I watch you all the time, and people will compliment you, and you will, make a joke about it, as if you're embarrassed by the compliment.
Right. Well, I am. I'm ill at ease under those circumstances.
Well, you shouldn't be.
All right. Well,
it's not like you've been here for 2 days, pal. You've been here, what, going on 6 years?
Let's talk a little bit more about the radio show. How do you enjoy doing it? Do you like doing it? You're talking now to people all across the country every night.
The great thing about radio, David, and you know this, is that the makeup is always perfect.
Yeah.
The lighting is always perfect. You're always 22, Dave. They don't know, you see.
Now, I heard something great happen like early on your radio show, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. A woman called up who had written you a letter saying, "Tom, call me. I'd like to get together." And she then hunted you down on the radio and called you up and said, "What's the deal, Tom? You never called."
That's correct.
That's the great thing about radio.
You do research, don't you?
Well, I heard. I spent a lot of time in the car.
There was a lady who watched a show I did in television in Los Angeles about a year ago, and she called me on the air. It was a TV call, and asked me for a date. And I mean, what would you do if somebody called in here and asked you for a date? Now, if that isn't an opening, David, you're never going to get one.
Well, first of all, you notify security.
So anyway, I fumfed around and got out of it, and now she, as you say, she tracked me down on the radio.
Right. This woman wants a date.
And I've been waiting a year for you, pal, and where the hell have you been? And I said, well, I'm busy, you know.
Well, give it a shot.
What do you mean give it a shot? I don't do blind dates. What's the matter with you?
But it might be fun.
I'm not Tony Grant looking for love.
Bring her in. Bring her in and have her on the show.
She's busy. She's busy.
No, the woman who wants your date.
No, we tried that once before from Indiana. Remember?
Yeah.
Hamana?
Yeah. How are we doing on time here?
We're probably running late.
We got a what? Do we have to go? No. Wow. He said no. I mean, he said no pretty quickly, didn't he?
I'll tell you, this is fun for me.
Let me ask you a couple more questions.
Being bartered over.
On this show right now, you can't say screw it. We've had huge arguments with the people. I don't even know where their offices are. I don't even think they're in the city. But
you mean you can't say what you just said?
Say it. Go ahead.
No, I won't do that.
You can't say screw it. Like, oh, screw it. I broke a fingernail. You can't say that.
Is this microphone screwed in here?
Yeah, it is screwed in. Yeah, that you can say.
Yeah, it's screwed right down into there.
That's right, it is.
It's screwed onto this table, isn't it?
But what kind of difficulties did you have along those lines?
The very same things, and I'll tell you what the problem is in a nutshell. Somewhere in this building, this revered building, there is a book called Standards and Practices for the NBC Television Network.
Right.
Have you ever seen that book?
No, I don't think it exists.
Ask for, no, it does exist.
I don't think it exists.
But people such as you and me are not allowed to see this book.
That's right.
And I once said to the very person who edits your show, they don't say censor, they say edits the show, right? There are no censors, editors, right?
Right.
To make sure that you don't say what you just said.
Screw it.
Right. I once said to this person, I said, these chairs are pretty flimsy, aren't they, Dave? Mm-hmm. I said to her, I said, let me see the book with all the rules in. She said, well, I'm sorry, but you can't see that.
Yeah.
I said, well, why not? She says, well, because you're only the talent. I said, words to live by, right? Yeah. You're only the talent, right? What are they going to do, take me off the air? So anyway, just a dumb thing. I thought to myself, I'm supposed to play by a set of rules here. I can't say what you just said.
Right.
What else can't I say? What else can't you say here? And I'm not baiting you, but they don't let you see the book. I said, how can I play by the rules if I don't know what the rules are here?
Yeah. It seems to me to be arbitrary, quixotic, whimsical, inconsistent, all of those things.
People all over America say, screw it.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean...
No.
How are we doing on time?
However, I would caution you...
We gotta go, don't we?
But I would caution you, don't... Please believe me, Dave. Don't push it. You know what I mean? Don't push it.
I respect that, and from where it's coming.
Thanks for having me here tonight.
Listen, I hope that we don't have to wait so long to have you on again in the future. Anytime you're in New York, feel free to come in and visit with us. And good luck with the radio show. I think it's terribly entertaining.
Thank you.
Tom Snyder, folks. We'll be right back here.
We are back. My next guest has worked for NBC for, well, he worked for NBC for almost 9 years. In fact, many of his Tomorrow shows originated right from this studio. The age we live in, huh? Since October 15th, he's hosted his own radio program, which is syndicated by the ABC radio network. Didn't they used to be in television at one time? And he's heard Monday through Friday nights. Please welcome Tom Snyder.
Thank you.
Sit down.
Thank you.
Actually, I should thank you. I should thank you.
I want to go home so bad I can't tell you.
No,
I'm
why?
terrified of this.
Why are you terrified?
Well, because this is too big for me. I'm used to little small shows. This is too big for me, you know? It's big. But let me tell you something that interesting. When I came in here, I thought about my old office, which is right down the hall here. I took the old Red Fox office. And at the time, there was a big battle between Red Fox and other stars about the window. Who would have the biggest window to view the people on the street? So they put a window in Fox's office, and I'm in there one day. It was now my office, and it supposedly was a one-way window where we could see out, but people couldn't see in, okay?
Right.
Now the tour is going by, all the people on the NBC tour. And I'm with my producer, and he says, you know, they can't see us. I says, I know. He says, why don't we give them the finger? I said, no. Can't do that. So he did, and they gave it back to him. So much for one way.
Yeah.
You know. Don't trust anything here, Jay.
Yeah. And with good. Now, why did he give them the finger? No,
I have no idea. He was just that kind of a guy. He just wanted to test the window.
Test the window.
Yeah.
Oh,
you make trouble backstage now and again.
Actually,
don't you?
I do.
Sure.
Actually, but see, I wanted to thank you actually because you are the only person when you were doing your show. You know, so many times radio personalities and TV personalities would come to the clubs and they'd hear comedians do jokes and they would recite them on the shows.
Right.
But you would always give credit. You'd always say, oh, well, that was Billy Crystal's or that was mine or that was somebody's.
Well, the line that I always quote from you, and I saw you in an old show, a Freddie Prinze retrospective of young comedians, years before you and I were known.
That was before the war, pretty much.
Tell me about it. And you were comparing the differences between New York and California. And you said in California, the beach is on the wrong side.
Oh, that's right.
And every time I...
I was going to do that tomorrow night in the monologue. Thanks,
I could give you some others of yours.
Huh? Now, you see, now you're such a nice guy. People always say in interviews and things, abrasive and controversial and all that. Now, do you think there's any grounds for this?
You see, I don't think so, but this...
Well, you wouldn't be biased at all.
Jay, you know me. I mean, I'm a pretty level-headed guy. I mean, I go nuts in front of cameras and microphones once in a while.
Yeah, and you give people a finger when they walk by your office.
No.
That's the test. When a guy is alone.
I told you my producer did it.
Oh, your producer did
I did it too, okay?
But you had to do it too, didn't you?
Yeah.
And if he had jumped off the roof, then you would have jumped off the roof.
Wrong.
Now, what are people talking about on the radio these days?
People are told, well, for example, we have a lady who calls once a week. Her name is Mary, and she calls from Baltimore, okay?
Baltimore?
Baltimore, right, where everything is beautiful. And she called last night or the night before.
Good demographics.
Radio's small, Jay. We're small.
No, but you're across the country. You're across the whole country. Right?
All of it, from one side to the other.
Right,
yeah, all the way. And see, my lip is sweating now because I'm terrified.
And you know, the nice thing, you're on the radio and you can give them the finger all you want. No, but then you have the lady from Baltimore.
No, don't look down right now, Jay. Anyway, a joke, a dumb, stupid joke.
No, it's...
So she called Monday night. She had watched the interview between David Frost and Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan had said he was asked about George Bush as being a presidential candidate. And Reagan said, you know, in my memory, George Bush is the best vice president that we've ever had. See, now you're onto it already, aren't you?
Right.
Mary from Baltimore says, considering the state of Reagan's memory, is that a compliment or is that a slap in the mouth? To which I have no answer. But we get, you know, cute people like that called in and they say interesting things like that when you hear them the first time. Yeah.
No, what? But so you find it's regulars pretty much?
Oh, no. We have a couple of regulars. Like Mary is a regular. And there are Richie in New York is a regular who calls to talk about the length of weather forecasts on television. I mean, some nights we really discuss the pressing issues of the day. But we also get other calls from people who thought, for example, that this whole thing with Ginsburg, you know, where he got busted for smoking a joint and he couldn't be on the Supreme Court, that was ridiculous. You'd be surprised how many people thought that was a stupid call to make.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, don't you think so? I mean, as somebody once said, if we went back to the Congress at the time of Prohibition, how many of our senators were in speakeasies having unlawful booze? And they didn't get busted, right?
We should find out right now.
Right.
Yeah. I just like the fact now, but he was smoking dope, and he was a conservative. That's the thing I thought was interesting. You know what the liberals doing? They must be bouncing off the wall.
Either that or selling it, I don't know.
Now, what was the... Now, for example, when they had Gorbachev on network TV, obviously that must have been... Was that your topic that night, right after?
We didn't mention it, only because it was produced by a competitive network.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And secondly, nobody...
Oh, wait a minute. If world events happen, and they're on another network, you don't know anything about it.
No. You see, that wasn't a world event, Jay. That was an interview between NBC News and Mikhail Gorbachev.
Well, that's a world event, isn't it?
Well, no, it's a network news event produced by a television news department. It's not a summit meeting. But anyway, nobody called about that particular show all night long on the radio.
Good demographics again.
No, but curiously, what you find out here is that all the things that we see as big headlines in newspapers every day, summit meeting, Haiti, prison riots in Georgia, etc., those are big stories for the national media. But for people like you and me who live in little towns or big towns, what's going on in the neighborhood is the big news.
Well, that really is
true. Know, if the sewer doesn't work, that's a big story. Or if the school is no good, that's a big story.
I always find it interesting. You can't get people to watch the debates, but they'll watch Wapner talk about a barking dog for half an hour, because everybody's dealt with a barking dog.
Exactly right. Yeah. You know, if the President of the United States has a cold, it's a headline in the paper, right? But if the guy who picks up the trash on your street has a cold and is sick that day, it's a disaster in your neighborhood. You know, it's really a tough thing. You don't want me to have him call the White House tonight, do you?
Not call the White House?
Well, the management always gets mad at me for things that I do, and one night we were delayed by a presidential address. This is back in the 1970s.
The nerve.
Well, I mean, Gerald Ford would call for television time every 3 days to explain something, you know, with inflation now or whatever. And people would always call to complain that we came on late. So I went on one night and I said, you know, it's not our fault that we come on late. It's when the president calls and asks for time, we have to give it to him. So it makes no sense for you to call us. You should call the White House. And I said, if you want the number, here it is. And the number is... Now, don't call tonight, okay?
No.
So after 40,000 people called the White House duty office that night, they called the guy who ran NBC in Washington, and he was mad at me the next day. I don't know why he...
I can't
understand that sort of thing. I mean...
You should have done to him what you did to the people in the line. Now, tell me about this simulcast with Ted Koppel.
Ted Koppel called us one day to use our telephone system. We have an 800...
Oh, they are cheap, aren't they? Gosh. You think they have their own Watts line over there?
Who, at Ted Koppel's place?
You wanted to use your phone?
Absolutely. And we let them because you know how eager I am, Jay, to get on television. That's why I'm sitting here perspiring and my hair is...
Here, you want a tissue?
Yeah, give me a tissue. I hardly know you. Anyway. We're getting hostile now. They always get hostile. So anyway... We were on with Koppel, and Koppel was talking about the stock market correction, right?
Right.
The little 508-point correction.
Correction.
Where everybody went in the dumper, right? Yeah, the little correction. So people were calling up to talk to his panel of experts on what the stock market correction...
Now, that wasn't Kermit the Frog again, was it?
No.
Oh, okay.
He did so well the first time. Did you see that with Kermit the Frog? Yeah. Here's our expert, Kermit the Frog. Good, Ted. So... we were on the air with him. He was on the television network. We're on the radio, and we are simulcasting with him to use his phone calls. So now he always goes to a produced piece of videotape where he shows the issue at hand with more experts.
Right.
During which time we're on the radio network kind of filling time, waiting to get back in sync with him. So I got on the phone with the callers who were waiting to go on the air with Ted to see, you know, what they want to talk to Ted Koppel about. And one guy says, he goes through the thing, I want to talk to Ted about his market, boom, 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 boom. He says, is it okay if I ask Ted why he has such funny hair? I said, please, God, you will not mention to Koppel the way his hair looks when you get on the air with him. That's an embarrassment. Now promise me that you won't do it. He says, okay, I won't do it.
No.
Now we get on with, and he's on the air with Koppel, and I'm sitting there with a look on my face that could kill, because I'm thinking, if this guy mentions Koppel's hair, it's all over for all of us. You know, you don't want embarrassing things to happen like that.
No, why is that? I mean, that's just, he would ask him about it. Why is that so, it's his real hair.
Well, if he were here...
Howdy Doody had hair like that for many years.
I know he did. And if he were here, you could ask him about it, but you don't want somebody to do it in the middle of a news show. So I was embarrassed about it. That's why they call me.
But did the guy ask him?
No, he didn't.
The guy kept his word, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
You see, and you thought ill of him.
No, I was happy for him.
Oh, okay.
I was glad he didn't do it.
And we'll be right back after this important message. Now, don't do anything while the cameras are off. We're back. And we're talking with Tom Snyder. Now, you have these people calling you. Have you ever called the show? What would you call? If you were at home, you're sitting there, what would you call about?
I would call about things that absolutely drive me nuts, and one of them is the fact that you can't get anything fixed in this country. Have you noticed that? You cannot get... I mean, they say it's a service business, and you can't get anything fixed. About a month ago, can I say brand name? What are they going to do? Take me off?
Yeah, come on, sure.
My dryer died. Absolutely nothing, okay? Now I called the service department. They said, we'll see you a week from Thursday. This is on a Friday.
Okay.
I said, now on television, the guy who fixes it, is always lonely. He's so lonely, right? Nobody ever calls, right?
No one calls.
She says, Mister, today, he's not lonely. I said, but I've got the gold guarantee card. She says, good, if you had the silver, it'd be 2 weeks from Thursday. You know, you cannot get anything fixed in this country.
Did the guy finally come and fix it?
On Thursday, he came and fixed it.
And he came when he said he would.
That's right. But, I mean, they make it seem, for example, the commercials imply, Jay, that they're going to be there within an hour to fix it, right?
Now, let me ask you, do you really think that the lonely guy is sitting there in that boat by the lighthouse? Are you the guy that really believes that? When they show him in the lighthouse like this all by himself, you really think he's in a lighthouse all by himself?
You know, Jay, if I say it, it's so. Now, if he says it, why isn't it so? I mean, to me, if they say, for example...
Well, let me ask you.
No, wait, here's a great one, okay? Now, tell me where in the airplane commercial for the airlines or the Friendly Skies or any of the others, where does it ever show you people having their baggage picked up as they get off the plane? It never shows that, does it?
No, it never does.
Because it never happens, does it?
No, it never does. No.
Where on the airplane commercial does it ever show you the pilot saying, I'd like to have the flight crew sit down now. It's going to be a little rough. And when he says it's going to be a little rough, Jay, he's not kidding, is he?
No.
Yeah. Where in the commercial does it say, the computer broke down, we won't be able to board you for 1 hour? It doesn't say that anywhere.
Doesn't say it anywhere.
I would call and talk to people on talk shows about this kind of stuff.
For example, do you think that Fred Flintstone does his own stunts? Do you think that?
No, but that's different. You know it's
How is that different than the goofy
one is a commercial and one is a show. Oh. And now the new one is, if you go to this certain rent-a-car company, there's automatic checkout, no waiting at the airport. Who are they kidding? It took me 1 hour and 20 minutes at JFK 2.5 weeks ago to get a car. So, I mean, they imply in the commercial that if you buy something or use a service, it's all going to be great.
Well, but they also say on radio talk shows, call right now and you're on hold for 45 minutes. They say, call this number right now, and you never, ever... I want to speak to Tom Snyder. Click, and you're on hold for an hour.
Jay. For 32 years, I've said, why is it always a challenge with these people? Why is it always a challenge?
But it is, you see. It's the same all the way around.
Well, we don't say we're going to pick up your call right now.
What do you say? You say, if you'd like to talk to Jay Leno, please call right now. That's what they say.
That's what we say.
That's what they say.
Right, but we don't say you're going to get on with Jay.
Oh. Well, let me ask you something else. Now,
Please do.
Actually, you're legendary here.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You are a legend here in the halls of NBC
wasn't.
for arguing with executives. Now, do you think... What are some of the things when you argue? Because I always hear about heated battles that you would get into.
There were never any heated battles, but things would happen. For example, one night on the late night
things
show...
would happen.
We were introducing Ted Turner, from CNN.
Right.
Now, at this time, Ted Turner was long before there was such a thing as CNN. And Ted Turner was on the air talking about his plans for CNN and the fact that he didn't have a lot of money. And he said to me, I read that you make all these millions of dollars, Snyder. Why don't you give me or $5 million to get the CNN thing underway and get it started. I says, well, wait a second, Ted. You have some money. You just bought that dog UHF in Charlotte, North Carolina for $26 million. You must have a little cash laying around. And it ended right there with playful banter, okay? The next morning, I get a call from the president of the NBC television network. He says, you know that dog UHF in Charlotte? I says, yeah. He says, that's our affiliate there. I said, oh.
Suddenly, you were the Maytag repairman.
Yeah, yeah, but they didn't wait till a week from Thursday for me, pal.
Is that like one of the... What's like one of the most embarrassing things you've done on the air, do you think?
One time early on, and this was in radio days.
In the early days.
Yeah, very early days. I was doing a record show at night on Saturday out in Milwaukee, and there was a big car crash in the suburban county, and a guy named Jesse Lee Mayberry was critically injured. So we report that fact that one of the occupants of the car, Jesse, was critically injured. Now I go home and go to sleep, get up at 6 o'clock the next morning, and come in and do the Sunday morning record show. And the news director calls. He says, you know that guy Mayberry, who was badly injured last night in the car crash? He died about an hour ago at the hospital of his injuries. I said, okay. He said, so be sure on the 9 o'clock news with the piece of paper that you write it in there and update it. I said, Jack, I will do that, to Jack Warren, who was the news director at the time. Now we get to the 9 o'clock news, and I think, you know, I'm pretty hot, 19, 20 years old, right? Got the radio show going. I don't have to cross. I remember that this man passed away.
Right.
In Waukesha County, Jesse Lee Mayberry is in critical condition following a car crash there last night. As a matter of fact, his condition is so critical, he's dead. But I mean, I learned a lesson from that. Always write it down, you know, because those things, I mean, it's not meant to be a macabre story, but it happened, and I was embarrassed for it.
It's one of those things.
I've killed thousands of people in forest fires that are alive and well today through a mistaken ad lib. A lot of people have been killed in train crashes that never happened because of mistaken wire copy. I mean, we've all made those kinds of mistakes.
We have all made them.
I mean, those of us who did the news. Right. Things happen that way.
Things happen.
Yes.
That's why it's called
the news. Right.
Now you have to do your show now. Right?
The radio show. As a matter of fact, if I'm not
virtually as we're talking.
If I'm not doing well here, you can just go over to the radio, and I'm right there.
Yeah. In fact, we're going to call and just see how long we have to be on hold.
You know you will always.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. All right, thank you. Get back. See you in a second. Well, maybe 2 seconds.